The stars looked the same today as they did yesterday, and the day before, and the 300 years before that. Lyra sat in her command chair, eyes fixed on the massive viewing screen that showed the endless darkness of deep space. Tiny dots of light sparkled against the black canvas. She knew each one by name, had watched some of them die, and others be born during her long watch. Station systems check complete. All functions normal, said the emotionless voice of the station's computer. Thank you, Sentinel, Lyra replied, her voice echoing in the empty control room. The Sentinel was both her home and her prison. A massive space station positioned at the edge of the Kraxi Empire, it served as the first line of defense against any who might threaten the Empire's borders. For centuries, Lyra had been its only living occupant. She rose from her chair, her tall, slender form moving with grace despite her great age. Her skin had a faint blue glow, visible in the dim light of the control room. She was the last of her kind, a species known for their long lives and deep knowledge of the stars. Lyra's daily routine never changed. System checks in the morning. Scan nearby space at midday. Send reports to Kraxi Command in the evening. Then sleep, only to do it all again the next day. Sentinel, any unusual activity in Sector 7? She asked, more to hear a voice than from any real concern. Negative. Sector 7 shows normal cosmic radiation patterns and no unauthorized vessels. Lyra sighed. Of course not. She walked to the observation deck, a circular room with transparent walls that gave a full view of the surrounding space. This was where she spent most of her free time, watching the stars and remembering a time when she wasn't alone. Her people had once been many, spread across 12 worlds. Now she carried their memory, their knowledge, and their genetic legacy. The Kraxi had saved her for this purpose, to watch, to wait, and to preserve what remained of a dying race. Would you like me to play music from the cultural archives? Sentinel asked. No, thank you, Lyra replied. She had heard every song, every story in the archives thousands of times. Even the comfort of familiar melodies had grown stale. As she turned to leave, a small light began blinking on her wrist device. An alert. Something unusual. Sentinel. Report. Unknown object detected entering Sector 4. Size consistent with a small vessel. No match in Empire database. Lyra's hearts quickened, all three of them. This was different. This was new. Show me, she commanded. The wall before her transformed into a display screen. A small ship, badly damaged, drifted through space. Its design was unlike anything in her experience. Neither Kraxi nor any of the known species that populated this part of the galaxy. Life signs, she asked, trying to keep the hope from her voice. One life form detected. Status: critical but stable. Life support systems functioning at minimal capacity. Lyra stood frozen, facing a choice. Protocol demanded she report the vessel immediately. Unknown ships were to be scanned from a distance, then either directed away or destroyed if they posed a threat. But 300 years of loneliness made the decision for her. Prepare Docking Bay 3. Initiate retrieval sequence, she ordered. Warning. Retrieval of unknown vessels violates Empire Security Protocol 5-7. Lyra smiled for the first time in decades. Override protocol. Authorization. Lyra, Station Commander, Code Blue 79. Override accepted. Initiating retrieval. As the station's mechanical arms extended to capture the drifting vessel, Lyra hurried toward the docking bay, her heart racing with an emotion she had almost forgotten. Hope. The strange ship sat in Docking Bay 3, steam rising from its damaged hull. It was small, built for speed rather than comfort, with odd markings Lyra couldn't read. She approached carefully, her scanner checking for dangers. Sentinel, what can you tell me about this vessel? She asked. Unknown origin. Technology level. Developing space-age civilization. Damage suggests collision with space debris. Power systems at 12% capacity. Lyra circled the ship, looking for a way in. She found what appeared to be a door on the side. Placing her hand on the control panel beside it, she sent a small pulse of energy, a trick her species had always been able to do. The door slid open with a hiss. Inside, the air was thin but breathable. The ship's interior was cramped, filled with equipment she didn't recognize. In the center was a clear container, and inside that container lay a figure. A living being, frozen in suspended animation. Lyra leaned closer, fascinated. The creature looked nothing like her. It had pinkish-brown skin without any glow, short limbs, and a face covered in strange patches of hair. Its breathing was slow, almost stopped. Life form analysis complete, Sentinel announced. Species unknown. Biology carbon-based. Status: deep hibernation, induced to preserve life during emergency. Can we wake it safely? Lyra asked. Affirmative. Ship's computer contains revival protocols. Shall I proceed? Lyra hesitated. This was far beyond breaking protocol. This was inviting an unknown being into her sanctuary. Yet the thought of speaking to someone, anyone, after centuries alone was too powerful to resist. Proceed, she commanded. The revival process took an hour. Lyra watched as color slowly returned to the being's face. Its chest began to rise and fall more quickly. Then, suddenly, its eyes opened, eyes that were startlingly blue. The creature gasped, tried to sit up, and began coughing. Careful, Lyra said, though she knew it couldn't understand her. The being stared at her, eyes wide with what she recognized as fear. It spoke words she couldn't comprehend, its voice deep and rough. Sentinel, activate Universal Translator, Lyra ordered. Working. Language structure unknown. Building translation matrix. The creature spoke again, more urgently this time. Where am I? Who, you? Came the broken translation. You are on Sentinel Station. I am Lyra, Station Commander. Your ship was damaged. I brought you here. The being seemed to relax slightly. Thank you. I am Jack. Human. From Earth. Human, Lyra repeated, trying the strange word. I have never encountered your kind before. Jack looked around, taking in the station's high ceiling and glowing walls. Never seen anything like you either. Sentinel's voice interrupted. Warning. Craxi Command sending routine status inquiry. Response required within 30 minutes. Jack tensed at the unfamiliar voice. What's that? The station's computer, Lyra explained. And a problem. My superiors don't know you're here. They wouldn't approve. I can leave, Jack offered, though he could barely stand. Lyra shook her head. Your ship is too damaged, and you are too weak. She made a decision that went against 3 centuries of following orders. I will not report your presence. Not yet. Jack's expression changed. His mouth curved upward at the corners. Lyra would later learn this was called a smile. Sentinel, respond to command. Report normal operations. No unusual activity, she said. This violates truth protocols, the computer replied. Override. Record instead. Space debris encountered and cleared. Minor station maintenance performed. As the computer acknowledged her commands, Lyra helped Jack to stand. He was shorter than her but sturdy, leaning on her arm for support. Why help me? He asked. Lyra looked at the first new face she had seen in 300 years and answered honestly. Because I have been alone for too long. Jack nodded as if he understood, even though he couldn't possibly comprehend the depth of her solitude. Then I'm glad. My ship broke down. In your part of space, he said. And for the first time in centuries, Lyra wasn't alone with just the stars for company. 7 days passed since Jack arrived at the station. His strength returned quickly, surprising Lyra. Humans, it seemed, were resilient creatures. What is this? Jack asked, pointing to a glowing panel on the wall of the room Lyra had given him. It controls the temperature and light, Lyra explained. The translator worked better now, learning from their conversations. Touch it if you're cold. Jack placed his hand on the panel, watching with wonder as it changed color. Amazing. On Earth, we still use buttons and switches for most things. Lyra found herself fascinated by everything about this human. He needed to sleep every day, a full 8 hours. He ate 3 times daily instead of once. And most strangely, he wanted to talk constantly. "Tell me about your home," she said as they shared a meal in the station's small dining area. Jack's eyes lit up. "Earth is beautiful. We have huge oceans, tall mountains, forests, deserts, all kinds of landscapes. Cities filled with millions of people." He paused. "What about your home?" Lyra looked away. "My homeworld died long ago. My people scattered, then slowly faded. I am the last." Jack's face showed an emotion Lyra hadn't seen before, a furrowing of his brow, a softening of his eyes. "I'm sorry," he said simply. "It was many lifetimes ago," she replied, though the pain never truly left. Later that day, they worked on Jack's ship. The damage was extensive. Fractured power core, torn hull, navigation systems destroyed. "Can it be fixed?" Jack asked, looking at the mess of wires and metal. "Yes, but it will take time," Lyra said. "These materials are unfamiliar to me." Jack surprised her by laughing. "I can help. I'm a mechanic, actually. That's why I was out here, testing our new exploration vessel." "You know how to repair this?" Lyra asked, impressed. "Most of it. We'll figure out the rest together." Working side by side, Lyra learned more about humans through Jack's stories. They were a young species, only recently reaching beyond their own solar system. They fought wars but also created music that could make one cry. They lived such short lives, barely a century, yet accomplished so much. One evening, Jack showed her something from his ship, a small device he called a music player. "This is one of my favorite songs," he said, activating it. Strange, beautiful sounds filled the room. It was unlike anything in the station's archives, complex rhythms and harmonies that made Lyra's skin glow brighter with emotion. "This is wonderful," she whispered. Jack smiled. "Music is how we connect with each other, even when we're alone." As the days passed, Lyra found herself smiling more, laughing at Jack's jokes, looking forward to their conversations. She taught him about the stars and distant worlds. He taught her human games and stories. Then came the message that changed everything. "Incoming transmission from Craxi Command," Sentinel announced one morning. Lyra activated the screen, making sure Jack was out of view. "Station Commander," said the stern face of Admiral Nex, her superior. "A routine inspection vessel will arrive at your location in 20 cycles. Prepare all logs and systems for review." After the transmission ended, Lyra stood frozen. "What's wrong?" Jack asked, seeing her distress. "The Craxi are coming. If they find you here, they will take you for study. You may never see your Earth again." Her 3 hearts beat rapidly with fear, not for herself, but for him. "How long do we have?" 20 cycles. About 2 of your months." Jack nodded thoughtfully. "Then we have 2 months to make a plan, or to fix my ship." Lyra looked at him, amazed at his calm in the face of danger. "I will not let them take you," she promised, surprising herself with how much she meant it. For the first time in centuries, someone else's safety mattered more to her than her duty. Lyra and Jack sat in the control room, checking star maps when alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. "Warning, multiple vessels detected entering Sector 2, Sentinel announced. "Identified as Drekkar raiders." Lyra's face turned a darker shade of blue, a sign of worry in her species. "Drekkar are dangerous. They steal technology and strip ships for parts." "How many?" Jack asked, moving to look at the main screen. 15 ships. Too many," Lyra said, her fingers flying across the control panel. "Sentinel, activate defense systems. Shield level maximum." The station hummed as ancient weapons came to life, Lyra had used them only twice in 300 years. Will the defenses hold? Jack asked. Not against so many. They usually travel in groups of 3 or 4. Something must have driven them here in such numbers. Jack studied the tactical display showing the approaching ships. His face became serious. Your defense pattern is too predictable. May I suggest something? Lyra hesitated. No one had ever questioned her command before. But Jack's eyes showed confidence, not challenge. Go ahead, she said. On Earth, we have a battle tactic called irregular response. Instead of firing all weapons in sequence, fire them randomly. It creates confusion. And here, he pointed to a spot on the map, create a false weakness in your shields. When they focus their attack there, hit them from behind. It went against everything in Lyra's training. The Craxi believed in order, in patterns, but she nodded. Sentinel, reprogrammed defense pattern. Random sequence. The first Drekar ship came into firing range. It was ugly, built from parts of different vessels, with sharp edges and visible weapons. They're broadcasting a demand for surrender, Sentinel reported. Ignore it, Lyra said. Implement Jack's defense strategy. The station's weapons fired. Laser bursts shooting out in unpredictable patterns. The Drekar ships, expecting the standard Craxi attack sequence, were caught off guard. 2 smaller vessels exploded immediately. It's working, Jack exclaimed. The raiders regrouped and concentrated their attack on the section where the shields appeared weakest, exactly as Jack predicted. Now, Lyra commanded. Hidden weapons behind the Drekar fleet activated, catching them in crossfire. 3 more ships exploded. The remaining raiders, confused by the unusual tactics, began to retreat. They're running, Jack said, grinning. Lyra let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. That was brilliant. Where did you learn such strategy? Books, movies, games, Jack shrugged. Humans think a lot about how to fight. The victory was short-lived. Damage reports flooded in from across the station. Main power at 60%. Sector 5 hull breach contained. Repair systems active, Sentinel reported. Lyra and Jack moved through the station, checking systems and helping with repairs. While examining the navigation computer, Jack noticed something. Lyra, look at this, he called. The Drekar flight patterns before they attacked. They weren't hunting. They were running from something. Lyra studied the data. He was right. The raiders had been fleeing from deeper space, their course erratic. What could make Drekar run? She wondered aloud. Jack pointed to a section of the star map beyond the raiders' origin point. There's some kind of disturbance here. The readings are unlike anything I've seen. Lyra's skin paled. This is very bad. I've seen these patterns once before, in ancient records. It's a cosmic anomaly that destroys everything in its path. How dangerous. Lyra's voice was grim. It wiped out 3 star systems the last time it appeared, 1,000 years ago. Jack looked at her, understanding the gravity of the situation. And it's heading this way, isn't it? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes. And if my calculations are correct, after it passes through this sector, its path leads directly toward your home. Earth. We need to learn more about this anomaly, Lyra said, her fingers moving quickly across the control panel. Sentinel. Access historical archives. Search term. Cosmic anomaly. Destruction pattern. Jack stood beside her, watching as ancient symbols scrolled across the screen. Can your records tell us how to stop it? Perhaps. My people studied many space phenomena before they... She stopped suddenly. Before they what? Jack asked gently. Lyra's shoulders dropped. Before they disappeared. I don't actually know what happened to them. The Craxi found me, the last survivor, and brought me here. Jack placed a hand on her arm, a human gesture of comfort she had come to appreciate. I'm sorry. While Sentinel searched the archives, they went to check on Jack's ship repairs. The work was going slowly but steadily, as Jack crawled under a damaged panel. He accidentally hit a hidden switch. A compartment in the floor slid open. "Lyra, come look at this," he called. She knelt beside the opening. Inside was a strange device connected to the ship's main computer. "I've never seen this before," Jack said, frowning. "This wasn't part of my ship's design." Lyra scanned it with her wrist device. "It's a data collector. It's been recording everything in its vicinity and transmitting it somewhere. Someone was spying on me. Why?" Before Lyra could answer, a message came from Sentinel. "Archive search complete. Access restricted. Commander authorization required." They hurried back to the control room. Lyra entered her access codes, but the screen flashed red. "Access denied. Security clearance insufficient." Lyra's 3 hearts raced. In 300 years, she had never been denied access to any part of the station's records. "There must be another way," Jack said, thinking. "What about the maintenance systems? Could we access it through there?" Lyra nodded. "Clever idea. Sentinel, maintenance override. Protocol Blue 79. The screen changed. Files appeared, not about the anomaly, but about Lyra herself. "What is this?" she whispered, reading the text. The truth unfolded before them. Lyra wasn't just a station commander. She was a genetic repository, carrying within her DNA the last viable samples of 12 extinct species, including her own. The Sentinel station wasn't just a defense outpost, but a monitoring center, searching for suitable planets to potentially reintroduce these lost species someday. "I am a living archive," Lyra said, her voice shaking. "They kept me here not just to watch the border, but to preserve what's left of entire civilizations." Jack read the files with wide eyes. "You're more than just the last of your kind. You're their future hope." As they dug deeper into the files, they found information about the anomaly. It wasn't a natural phenomenon, but the aftermath of an ancient weapon, designed to destroy all organic life in its path. It says here the anomaly appears every 1,000 years, following the same path through the galaxy. Lyra translated. "Last time, my people tried to stop it and failed." Jack studied the diagrams. "Look at this. The energy pattern has a specific frequency. If we could generate an opposing frequency, we might be able to disrupt it." Lyra finished. "But it would require enormous power, more than the station has." Suddenly, the spy device they found in Jack's ship made sense. "Someone sent me out here deliberately," Jack realized. They knew about the anomaly returning and wanted information. "But who?" Lyra asked. The answer came sooner than expected. Sentinel's alarm sounded again. "Incoming transmission. Craxi High Command." The stern face of Admiral Nex appeared on screen. "Commander Lyra, we are aware of the anomaly's return, and we know about your human guest." His eyes narrowed. "The inspection vessel will arrive tomorrow, not in 20 cycles as previously stated." The transmission ended, leaving Lyra and Jack staring at each other in shock. "They knew all along," Lyra whispered. "And now they're coming for us both." "We need to hide you," Lyra said, pacing across the control room. Her skin pulsed with a nervous blue glow. Jack shook his head. "No. If they already know I'm here, hiding will only make things worse. You don't understand the Craxi. They will take you for study. They may extract your DNA for their archives. They see other species as resources, not equals." Jack grabbed her hands, stopping her pacing. "Lyra, listen. We have bigger problems than me. The anomaly is heading toward both this station and eventually Earth. We need the Craxi's help to stop it." Lyra knew he was right, but fear for him clouded her thinking. In the short time he had been on the station, Jack had become more important to her than she wanted to admit. They spent the night preparing. Jack worked on his ship, trying to make it flight-ready in case they needed to escape. Lyra reviewed everything they had learned about the anomaly, searching for a solution. "Sentinel, how long until the anomaly reaches the station?" she asked. "At current speed, 5 Earth days," the computer replied. As the station's artificial day cycle began, Sentinel announced, "Craxi vessel approaching, requesting docking clearance." Lyra took a deep breath. "Grant clearance. Prepare for boarding." Jack stood beside her at the main docking bay, his face calm but determined. The massive doors slid open, revealing a sleek Craxi ship, much larger than Jack's vessel. 3 tall figures stepped out. 2 were guards with weapons. Between them was Admiral Nex, his gray skin and sharp features showing no emotion. "Commander Lyra," he said, not acknowledging Jack. "You have violated multiple protocols." "Yes, Admiral," Lyra replied, standing straight. "I took in a damaged vessel and assisted its pilot. I would do it again." The Admiral's eyes narrowed. "Your duty was to report, not to decide." Jack stepped forward. "Sir, if I may speak." One of the guards raised his weapon, but Admiral Nex held up his hand. "The human may speak. I came here by accident, but I believe my presence was planned by someone. There was a spy device on my ship, and now we know about the anomaly heading this way. It will destroy this station and then Earth. We need to work together to stop it." The Admiral was silent for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, he nodded. "You are correct, human. Your government sent you here deliberately, though you were not told. They detected the anomaly first and needed confirmation." Lyra gasped. "Earth knows about the anomaly." "Earth has been monitoring deep space for decades," the Admiral explained. "When they detected the anomaly, they reached out to the Craxi secretly. We arranged for a lost ship to find its way here." Jack's face showed shock and then anger. "I was set up. My own people risked my life without telling me." "They selected you carefully," Admiral Nex said. "A skilled mechanic who could survive the journey, and someone who would work well with Commander Lyra." "How could they know that?" Lyra asked. "We've been watching you for centuries, Commander. We know you've been lonely. We know your growing resentment of your mission. The human was chosen partly because of his personality. Curious, kind, adaptable. Traits we believed would appeal to you." Jack and Lyra looked at each other, processing this information. Their meeting, their growing friendship, had it all been engineered? "It doesn't matter how we met," Jack finally said. "What matters is stopping the anomaly. Do you have a plan, Admiral?" "We do. But it requires something only you two can provide." The Admiral's face became grave. "Commander Lyra's genetic repository combined with human technology." "What does that mean?" Lyra asked. "It means," the Admiral said, "that one of you will likely not survive." "What do you mean one of us won't survive?" Jack demanded, stepping closer to Lyra protectively. Admiral Nex gestured for them to follow him to the control room. There, he displayed images of the approaching anomaly, a swirling mass of dark energy that consumed everything in its path. "The plan is simple but dangerous," the Admiral explained. "Human scientists have developed technology that can create a containment field around the anomaly, but it requires a biological component that can adapt to the anomaly's changing patterns." Lyra understood immediately. "You want to use my genetic material, the DNA I carry from 12 extinct species." "Yes. The combined genetic codes have unique properties that can stabilize the field." The Admiral turned to Jack. "And we need the human ship. It contains experimental technology designed specifically for this purpose." "So that's why there was a spy device," Jack said. "It wasn't just collecting data. It was part of the plan." They spent the next day preparing. Earth scientists sent instructions through Jack's repaired communication system. Lyra provided samples of her genetic material. The Craxi engineers worked to combine everything with the station's defense systems. As they worked, Lyra pulled Jack aside. "The Admiral said one of us wouldn't survive. The genetic transfer process will weaken me severely." Jack's face was determined. "We'll find another way. I won't let you sacrifice yourself." "There may be no choice," she said softly. "My people are already extinct. Yours still have a chance." The anomaly grew closer. Through the viewing window, They could see it now, a dark hole in space that swallowed light itself. "It's time," Admiral Nex announced. "The containment system is ready." They gathered in the control room. The plan was to launch Jack's modified ship toward the anomaly. Once in position, it would activate the containment field, using Lyra's genetic material to adapt and hold the deadly energy. "The ship needs a pilot," the Admiral said. "The guidance system must be manually adjusted as the field forms." Before anyone could speak, Jack stepped forward. "I'll do it." "No," Lyra cried. "It's too dangerous." Jack smiled at her. "I was chosen for this mission for a reason. Let me finish it." The launch was prepared. As Jack prepared to board his ship, Lyra held his hands one last time. "You changed everything for me," she said. "Before you came, I was just existing. You taught me to live again." Jack touched her glowing blue cheek. "And you showed me wonders I never imagined. No matter what happens, it was worth it." They watched from the station as Jack's small ship approached the massive anomaly. The containment field activated, a web of energy surrounding the darkness. For a moment, it seemed to be working. Then the field began to fail. "The genetic adapters aren't responding fast enough," one of the Craxi engineers reported. "The field is collapsing." Lyra made a decision. "Connect me directly to the system. I can guide the adaptation process." "That could kill you," the Admiral warned. "I know. Do it." Connected to the system, Lyra used her natural abilities to direct the genetic material, feeling its response through her own body. Pain shot through her as the connection grew stronger, but she held on. The field stabilized. The anomaly began to shrink. Then, unexpectedly, Jack's voice came through the communication system. "I'm still here. Something strange is happening. The anomaly is changing." The dark mass transformed, becoming a swirling portal of light. Jack's ship emerged, damaged but intact. Scientists later discovered that human DNA had an unexpected reaction with the containment field, changing the anomaly's nature rather than just containing it. 1 month later, Lyra stood on the observation deck, fully recovered. Beside her was Jack, now officially assigned as Earth's ambassador to the Craxi Empire. "What happens now?" he asked. Lyra smiled, her skin glowing with happiness. "Now we explore the stars together. The Craxi have assigned me a new mission to find suitable planets for my archived species, and they want you to help." As they looked out at the endless stars, Jack took her hand. "You know what this means, right?" "What?" "You'll never be alone again."